Hello again. We're going to talk about gratitude and look for the good. We're on page 4 of your participation guide, and we are going to jump right into this. So, how does gratitude help? All right. Um, if you are grateful for things, you're outwardly showing it and or inwardly communicating to yourself that you're grateful for something. It builds optimism and positive emotions by paying attention to good things. It's very easy if I asked you to write down 3 negative things that have happened in the past 24 hours. So, write down 3 things in the past 24 hours that have been negative to you. Now, take some time and write down 3 positive things that have happened to you in the past 24 hours. Those 6 items, 3 negatives and 3 positives, are going to be due back to your instructor by the end of this lesson. It also helps you cope with daily hassles and stress, improves social relationships. Like I talked to you in previous lessons, if you've heard those before, this is deep rooted in psychology. And as you realize that all these are kind of intertwined, I'm reading a book currently on physical readiness, and it talks about how people that are more physically active have a stronger social relationship because they have more confidence in them and they're willing to spark up conversations easier because of that confidence. It's very interesting as you start to think about that. Think about how you see people at the gym interacting, maybe asking for a simple spot, asking some technique things, or just striking up conversations because they feel good about themselves. So, again, everything kind of builds upon itself throughout these lessons, and we'll talk more as we go through this on how that happens. So, what is gratitude? By definition, it's a sense of wonder, thankfulness, and appreciation for life. Often, when I'm in an FTAC class and I ask, "What are you grateful for?" I'll get somebody to say, "I'm grateful for waking up this morning." I always think of those as kind of one of for me personally, um, it's 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 kind of one of those presumed things that you're going to wake up every morning. But when somebody says that, I always take a second and I'm like, you know what? I don't appreciate enough the fact that I did wake up this morning and how many opportunities I have in front of me and how many things that I've been blessed to do in my life. So I do very much appreciate the fact that I get to wake up in the morning. Looking for the good helps us focus on what went right. Um, Again, we did the exercise at the beginning of this, 3 negative things. So that's probably something that you feel that you did wrong or that didn't go right for you that particular day. So if we take a time and we focus on those positives, we're looking for the good and how that went right for us or that went right maybe for somebody else. So it doesn't always have to be internal to us or happen to us, but it has to be something that we're grateful for. How does this help us? There's a thing called the negativity bias. And if we constantly dwell on negatives, and you may or may not have experienced somebody in your life that constantly dwells on the negatives, we're more likely to pay attention and remember negative things than positive things. So you might have gone on vacation before or had an experience before that you don't remember anything of the positives, but you remember that horrible experience. Like if you're going on vacation, excuse me, and you had a flat tire and how many hours you spent on the side of the road because you're just dwelling on how much you lost out versus you're sitting on the side of the road, maybe waiting for AAA or somebody's changing the tire, and you're talking about and sharing stories, or you learned how to change a tire and dwelling on that positive experience, however minor it might be. That is what we're trying to get away from, that negativity bias, always focusing on the negatives. Negative emotions trigger the flight, fight, or freeze response. So if you have negativity bias, your negative emotions will constantly trigger you to either flight and avoid that or fly away, fight it and just kind of deny it, or freeze and do nothing to take control of the situation and change the outcome. So we're trying to get away from that as well. Positive emotions can help us focus and be more creative. So gratitude and other positive emotions helps us construct, counteract the negativity bias. So if we're constantly focusing on the positive, we get away from the negativity bias, which is what we want to get to do. Discover and develop new skills is another side effect or benefit of being focusing on the positives and being ever grateful for things. Improves our performance. There hasn't been a time in my career or my life that I've willingly gone out and sought out somebody that's constantly negative. But I will say that I've thought many times, like, hey, I want to go spend time with that person, or I want to go learn from this individual because they always seem to have an upbeat, positive attitude, but how they're going to attack the problem, and I appreciate that from them. So if you think about that in terms of your day-to-day existence and your experiences throughout life, you might realize that, hey, those that improve upon our performance are those that are grateful and have a positive attitude. So we kind of already did this skill. I like to compound this. We did the icebreaker of 3 positive, 3 negatives. But now we're going to do a different one, and we're going to do 3 different things from the first list to the second list. So in the last 24 hours, what is something you're grateful for? What went well? And then reflect on that, those things. Why did it go well? Why is it meaningful? And how did others contribute to this good thing? This is the activity in your activity packet on page 4. So take some time, go through that now, pause the video, and once you're done, unpause the video if you're not asleep. And let's go to the next part of this lesson. So how do you think gratitude practice builds resilience? That is the question. Think about the last 24 hours. Again, this is a recap of the questions that we just asked, and share this with yourself out loud. Because what we're trying to get after is, what are you grateful for? Why did it go well? What is meaningful? Why is it meaningful? And how did others contribute to this good thing? So I ask you now, at the bottom of that page and maybe onto your spare sheet of page, what was challenging about this activity? What made it hard to think in the past 24 hours? What went well? Why did it go well? And who helped you to make it go better? Or what people were involved in making it go better? Then I want you to think and write down what was helpful. What thing did you think about that made this activity easier? And lastly, I want you to write, how do you feel now that you've thought about that experience and how it relates to your day-to-day grind? So this is an activity that you can do, and some of you might already do it, and that's perfectly fine. Some of you might have never done this before, and that's perfectly fine. But I do challenge you, for those that have never done it, to look for the good every day. So it's very simple. Pick a time of the day, maybe put it in your phone as a calendar reminder, or maybe put it on your bathroom mirror or next to your bed in a notebook of a time that you're going to do this, and very deliberately think about your past 24 hours. Think about your past 24 hours and look for the good in things that have happened. Some people benefit more if they reduce the frequency of using this practice. So choose wisely of how often you do it, so it doesn't become a routine or a nagging task that you have to do, but do it on some sort of a regular basis. It could be as simple as while you're driving, you just naturally think of something while you're sitting on a stoplight safely, or as a journal entry or a blog or something to that nature. Sometimes people will do a phone call, text message, things of that nature. But I do challenge you to take some time and deliberately think of how you, on a day-to-day basis, can be grateful for the things that are happening to you. So what we went over to gratitude and looking for the good. Gratitude builds optimism and positive emotions, helps you cope with stress, and improves relationships. Develop a regular, daily, or weekly gratitude practice that includes 1 to 3 things that you are grateful for. Includes a reflection on why you're grateful for that particular thing. Without any questions, because I'm not there to answer them, have a great time.